Not many people talk about the downside to being David Goggins. There's a dark side to this whole thing that we see. We usually don't acknowledge it that much because we're always so busy praising it. But in this clip, he touches on the dark side and the sacrifice that he had to make in order to become the person that we all know and love today. This is episode 1212 with David Goggins on the Joe Rogan Experience. I'm Coach Colin, coolest, highest performance coach in the world. And if you want the absolute best insights to the podcasts and videos you love, hit that subscribe button. Let's get into it.
Yeah, but how much did that piss other alpha males off that you were imposing a very high bar?
I was a very misunderstood human being when I was in the military. The Air Force guys liked me a lot. The Rangers liked me a lot. So much not the SEALs.
Because they were with you.
They didn't like me so much, which is fine. You know, I respect them. I think a lot of them respect. I have a lot of friends in the SEAL teams, a lot of guys that like-minded mentalities as me. And once again, man, I grew up and I got over it. A lot of guys still have, a lot of people can't get over the fact of whatever. When I became a SEAL recruiter, a lot of guys thought I wasn't deploying for a lot of reasons and whatnot, and I heard a lot. I was that guy who grinded. I grinded hard. I mean, I grinded hard. I was that guy who was up, like if we went on an op or we had a workup, let's say we had a workup, we were in Ireland, we're out there shooting guns and doing land warfare, and we did it till like 1 o'clock in the fucking morning. Most everybody go to sleep. I didn't go to sleep. I went to the gym and I worked out. Or I go sleep. And I said we'd be up at 5 o'clock. I was up at 4 o'clock and got my hour in. I made sure to always do that. And I did it to a point to where I think it pissed some people off because I wasn't a quiet person about it. You know, I wasn't the most humble person always. You know, so when you're around alpha males, you're sometimes picking a fight, all the time. And I look different. I acted different. I was different. I am different. I take a lot of pride in that. And so, if you didn't get after it, I didn't respect you because I believe that, where I'm at, I know that human potential is what we have. It's all we have. It's what the world sees us a certain way. And when I saw that people weren't doing that, I had a funky ass fucking attitude. And I own it in my book. I come back from Ranger School a big time leader. I was a big time fucking leader. I got honor man out there. I led by example. And what I realized a lot of times when you're in these schools, people want to graduate these schools because they suck. They don't want to ever go back to these schools. Those schools became my fucking life. People don't want to see a fucking guy that wants to go back to day one, week one of fucking Navy SEAL training every fucking day of your life. And that's how I live. And it's a disgusting human being that I can be. It is. And a lot of people didn't like me. A lot of fucking people started some stupid shit and started saying this and that. The bottom line, man, is my fucking resume says it all, man. My resume's out there. Google the motherfucker. You say whatever you want to say about me, man. I missed some diplomas, man, for having fucking, 2 heart surgeries, and people try to start some rumor shit on me, man. You started rumor shit on me, man, because I fucking got the fuck after it. And real hard guys, like a guy named Hawk I talk to all the time, yeah, he's a great friend of mine. When before my heart surgery, my second heart surgery, I went on a 10-mile ruck run. Before my second heart surgery, the day of it, I went on a 10-mile ruck run, 50 pounds. I saw that guy. He's like, what the fuck are you doing out here? We got heart surgery. It's roger that, brother. I'm getting it in before I'm be out for about 6 months after the heart surgery. That was my mentality. Because I started realizing at a young age what I was leaving on the table. And once I found out what a human being's capable of, I didn't know how to control that. I was a fucking, you want to talk about fucking savage? That's what I was. I was a fucking straight up, people talk about savage very lightly. I was fucking from the backwoods motherfucking savage, dude. I told you what I thought. I had 8 chips on my shoulder. And a lot of times that wasn't great.
So is it a situation where, like with the SEALs, where once you've gotten through buds and once you've gotten through all the physically grueling parts of getting to be accepted, once you're in, then you were imposing standards that they didn't want to they didn't want to keep up with?
I would say some people.
Some people.
I had one platoon that I had a problem with. I graduated Ranger School and I got in this platoon and I didn't see eye to eye 'cause I was in charge of a PT program, and you put me in charge of the PT program is fucking your ass. And the thing about it is I didn't like it either. I didn't want to do this shit either, man. But
what were you making them do?
It was some Navy, it was some Bud shit. We went back to Bud's, log PTs and carrying logs over the berms and shit. And I had us do pull-ups, rope climbs, pull up for an hour. So imagine doing a rope climb, then go over and do 10 to 15 pull-ups coming back. And we would do these, they were very hard workouts. There was no go to the gym, lift some weights type of shit. And I was imposing my own mentality on everybody. These are grown ass fucking men. They they don't want to be what I'm trying to make them to be. And when they called me off, hey, we're not in SEAL, we're not in Buds anymore, Goggins, it pissed me off. And I got a little fucking attitude, got my chip, and I got my ball, and me and Sledge went ahead and started to work out together. And we developed this, me and Sledge work out like fucking animals, and we had this fucking mentality of, fuck yeah, we're getting after it every day. And everybody else kind of did their own thing, man. And that's when I started looking at people, not just SEALs, but people very differently, man, because I bit into to be the special operator, you gotta have broken legs, and these guys, all those stories. I was the same guy, man. I put people on a pedestal. I put people, I can never be them. I can never be that guy, man. Never put anybody on a pedestal. That's what happened to me. I put them on a pedestal, and once I got up there with them and I saw them, and once again, not everybody. Some hard motherfuckers out there, dude. Period. Dot. Hard motherfuckers. I thought every motherfucker was hard. They ain't.
Uncommon amongst uncommon men.
That's all it was about for me, man. And I took it to another level, and I pissed a lot of motherfuckers off. And they were trying to find chinks in my armor then. They were trying to find chinks in my armor. All he does is run. All he does is fucking run. That's why, but once again, that's why I don't talk about the military too much. Like I said, the Air Force loved me. The Army guys I work with love me. The Ranger School, all that stuff loved me. I wasn't, it's just what it is, man. I was part of the Navy SEALs. I was the team guy, but I wasn't part of the brotherhood. And that's just me, man. That's just me. It ain't saying nothing bad about them. I got a lot of love for a lot of them. A lot of them got love for me, but I ain't gonna talk bad about them. It's just, I'm different. And that's the thing I figured out. I'm different from everybody in the fucking world. And I had to own that and say, you know what, man, you made a lot of fucking mistakes being who you are. And I should have been more of a leader at times, but a lot of times, a lot of people should have been a little bit harder too.
So, was it
I love that. Man, because you can see that he regrets little parts where he's like, I should have been more of a leader, but you can tell it's this is somebody that completely gave themselves to what they thought and what they felt was their calling and the right thing to do and the ultimate thing to do, to express your full self, your full potential, to always go after it. To go after it voraciously, to go after it crazily, just savage, like he said. It's wild. It's wild because, there's a lot of talking. He does a lot of talking, but, that's the part where he really lived it. Getting friction from people and just being like, I don't give a fuck. Are you doing this or not? Looking guys up and down and being he talks about it more in other interviews and stuff, but looking at guys and being like why aren't you as hard as me? Why aren't you trying to express your full potential like I am? He said, he's trying to make these guys into what he wanted them to be. The same thing that he wants for himself, that just, as he puts it, that granimal ultimate self, that savage. And he was willing to discard a whole brotherhood of people, just to be that, just for the chance to be his full express self. He was willing to not really discard these people, but he was willing to rub them the wrong way to the point where they didn't really like him all that much, like he says. And that's hard, man. And that's what it takes. You know, if you're really going to go after your full potential, it takes that. It takes you being willing to like run that far off from the pack. It takes you, willing to distance yourself that far from the tribe, and become that much of an individual. I talked about in other videos, like, you're becoming that individual, and you can always come back. Like he said, he was like a teams guy, but he wasn't a part of the brotherhood. So he could always come back and help the tribe that he was a part of, but he was so individual that he was like almost separate from it. And I love that you can just see the regret, and you can see where he felt like he was right. And you can see that it's like, that's the sacrifice. Like that, like he did what he was right, and there's a little regret there. That is like the definition of sacrifice. Like, you know what you're doing is right, and it's rubbing people the wrong way. And you know that you're going to lose some friends along the way in order to pursue this thing. Like, that's sacrifice. And he's all the better for it to us. But what else could have been if he was a part of that brotherhood? What else would have happened? Would he have retired so soon? Would he have, got promoted up? And maybe we would have never known David Goggins because he'd be too busy in the Navy right now. He'd be too busy with the SEALs. Would we get to see him on Jocko's podcast? Because I think that's what happened. I think that's why you never see David Goggins and Jocko do anything. Right? Jocko's a part of the brotherhood. Goggins isn't. And you never see them do any kind of work together. It would make perfect sense for them to. It's like, again, that's sacrifice, because it's like in pursuit of that ultimate self, there's so much that is possibly left on the table. And you just got to be willing to walk away from that table for what you think is right. David Goggins, man. Never short of lessons with this guy. I'm out. Peace.